Okay, managers, let's take about 10 minutes to cover some best practices and practical suggestions to help you get prepared to make the most of this performance development check-in experience. Has anyone ever felt like the picture on the left when doing these performance check-ins? Like you're going into a boxing match? Manager versus employee? Big guy versus little guy? Defensive, agitated, threatened perhaps? While we do want you to prepare for your check-ins, these shouldn't feel like boxing matches. We'd love to help you shift these into a more positive, collaborative experience like that depicted on the right. And in order to make this shift, it all starts with deliberately creating a safe, trusting environment. Please do not wear short training shorts to your one-on-one conversation. Feedback can trigger a threat response, the fight, flight, or freeze response in the brain. So it's key to be very deliberate about fostering psychological safety. Psychological safety is the sense that one can share openly and honestly about their ideas, thoughts, different perspectives, without being punished or embarrassed in some way. It's essentially a form of trust that you can build between you and your employees. And this is important not only for during that one-on-one conversation, but there's actually things you can do prior to that one-on-one conversation to prime psychological safety between you and your people. Let's take a look. First and foremost, it's so critical to emphasize that the intention on this performance development check-in process is on growth and development. When you're connecting with your employees, either via email or when you see them in person in your interactions during your day-to-day, encourage them that this process is for them. It's about their growth, it's about their development. An employee may still be in the mindset that these are reviews and they're being evaluated and purely assessed based on what they did or did not do in the past. We want to shift that mindset and encourage employees and demonstrate through our communications that these check-ins are about their growth and development first and foremost. Second, it's critical for managers to approach the check-in process from the mindset of dialogue versus monologue. We've designed the performance development check-in process to be more collaborative, more co-creative between the manager and an employee. It's not just about a manager telling the employee what to do, but it's more so about the manager inviting input and insights from their people about how to get better together. How can the manager and employee work together to help the employee accomplish their professional development goals while at the same time helping drive critical team performance goals and objectives? Here's a few sub-tips on how to create a dialogue versus monologue. First, express appreciation for your people's input. Encourage them to be honest and open with their responses in their template. You can also express your appreciation ahead of time before they even fill anything out. So when you're communicating with your employees via email or in person, asking them to please complete their check-ins, you can during this time say, hey, thanks for really being open and honest about your responses. I appreciate it. Second, encourage their ideas and different perspectives. Again, this isn't just about your way or the highway. It's about creating a dialogue and inviting different ideas, different perspectives, and integrating them to come out with a more holistic picture about how to improve performance. Some employees may or may not be as wordy in their responses, or they may be a little reticent to share in conversation and elaborate upon their responses that they mark down in UltiPro. If this is the case, feel free to ask them to elaborate. Tell me more. What do you mean by that? Can you be more specific? Lastly, it's perfectly fine to acknowledge uncertainty and challenges that we've all faced this year. It's been a wild year, and I'm sure you, as a manager, are a bit shaken, just as some of your employees may be as well. One way to build the relationship between manager and employee and create more of a dialogue versus monologue situation is to be a little bit vulnerable and acknowledge, hey, This year has been challenging and there's still some uncertainty, but together we're going to find a way to focus on your professional development, to focus on aligning on clear expectations about what high performance looks like for you and the team. And we're going to work together throughout the year to hit our performance goals and make sure you're continuously developing as well. In addition to creating the right environment characterized by psychological safety and trust, leaders can also engage in 3 distinct conversational practices that can drive high performance. You can think of this as the 3 C's model of leadership. Leaders help their people grow and maximize their performance by boosting their confidence, challenging them, and coaching their people towards higher levels of ownership, critical thinking, and development. Simply put, confidence leads to higher levels of performance. Effective leaders deliberately find opportunities to build their people's confidence so that they can continue performing at high levels and also feel ready to take on new challenges, responsibilities, and opportunities. An employee who isn't confident isn't ready to grow to the next level or increase their performance, so it is critical to find opportunities to boost and build your people's confidence. One way to build confidence is to emphasize and expand upon accomplishments and their impact. How can you connect an employee's accomplishments or success to a bigger picture? Show them how their work contributes to the overall mission, vision, or objectives of the team or the company, or how their accomplishment impacted clients or customers, either internal or external, in a positive way. You can also highlight what strengths that person used to accomplish something. This can help employees learn what to do more of and how to best dissect why they were successful and apply it to other situations. Here's an example. This question comes directly from the check-in template for both salaried and hourly employees. What 1 to 3 accomplishments are you most proud of achieving this past year, and why? The employee here says, I increased my efficiency and output. So as a manager, how might you respond either in your written input or in conversation to this employee's response in a way that can build their confidence? Here's an example. The manager says, as a result of Dirk's improved efficiency and productivity, other team members looked to Dirk as a role model and followed his lead. Others learned from Dirk and improved their performance. And as a result of our team's enhanced efficiency and capacity, we were able to grow the value of our client relationship with Starbucks. So here, the manager is not only acknowledging Dirk's individual accomplishment of increasing his individual efficiency and output, but he's going above and beyond to connect it to a bigger picture and impact. The manager is demonstrating and emphasizing how Dirk's improved efficiency and output not only had an impact on the overall team performance, it also increased capacity, which led to more value within the client relationship that the company has with Starbucks. If I'm Dirk, I'm feeling pretty good about increasing my efficiency and output, and I may not have realized the bigger picture impact that I can have by increasing my performance. Now, I want to continue to find ways to get better at my job and making even bigger impacts. Another way to improve performance and get stronger is to incrementally increase the level of challenge. Like lifting weights, we only get stronger and increase our performance by progressively upping the challenge level, either in terms of reps, intensity, speed, or variety. How can you apply this metaphor and up the level of challenge in progressive ways for your people? Here's an example. From the check-in, here is another question. What one thing do you feel you must accomplish next? Here, the employee says, I would like to get involved in another client account within the company. I think I am underutilized and have skill sets and experience that I can bring. How might you as a manager respond to this input using the challenge lever to increase this employee's performance or development? Here's an example. Susie definitely has valuable insights into analytics and account management workflows. I actually think there's opportunity to not just get involved with another client, but with helping the entire department, and perhaps even cross-functionally, develop more efficient, streamlined account management workflows. I'm curious to hear more about Susie's specific ideas for adding value and exploring how we might expand on this idea to provide greatest impact to the company. Here, the manager is doing a great job expanding and connecting the employee's response to a bigger picture challenge, where the employee feels as if it may be a good challenge or good experience to get connected and contribute to another client. The manager is recognizing this employee's skill sets and their unique experiences and upping the challenge a bit by saying, hey, I actually think Susie can make an even bigger impact on the whole department or even across the company. This is a bigger challenge that I'm going to work with Susie on over the next year. If I'm Susie, not only am I feeling pretty good that my manager feels that I can take on this challenge, but this challenge opens up new thinking, new opportunities for me to grow my skills and make a bigger impact. What makes an effective coach? Coaches serve as guides and support to help their people perform at their best, learn, and grow. They provide effective feedback, with feedback being all about encouraging effective future behavior. And they help people build their own capability and critical and strategic thinking skills so that they can problem solve on their own. When giving feedback and providing input, and in conversation, make sure you're as specific as you can. If you can call out very specific situations, examples, behaviors, things that you or others have observed, that can help the employee really identify how, when, where, and why to improve. Even if an employee is having an attitude problem, it's best to not say, oh, Bobby has a poor attitude, but identify the specific behaviors such as eye rolling or poor body language that can be observed and seen. In your feedback and in your conversations, be thoughtful. It's not enough to just explain what happened or what didn't happen, but try to connect it with why it mattered. Clarify what success looks like and what is valued. It's not just about pointing out that someone made a mistake or someone could do better, but as a manager, paint the picture of what success really looks like and what behaviors and actions and results are valued. And again, be clear and specific as possible here as well. Lastly, know your direct report style. Not all of your people will be able to receive feedback in the same way. Some may be more sensitive or open than others. Use your best judgment as a manager to find the appropriate way to deliver feedback effectively to each of your people individually. Another coaching best practice, and this is primarily for your one-on-one conversations, is this notion of flipping it back to your employees. Effective coaches, they do more asking more than they do telling. And this is an effective frame to bring into your conversations, not just for your performance development check-ins, but in your day-to-day interactions. When we use more questions versus directives or statements, we can trigger perspective and critical thinking, foster awareness and discovery, help people clarify their vision, help people learn, reflect, and adapt, and encourage progress and action. Here's an example. From the check-in, here's a question. What ideas might you have for improving process, workflows, collaboration, or the work environment? Here, the employee says, communication between production and account services needs to be improved. Perhaps better meetings or different way to relay information. As a manager, you can flip it back on the employee to promote ownership and action taking. Here's an example. Thanks for sharing. This is definitely something that can be improved upon. How would you specifically go about it if it were up to you? What next steps could you try out towards better meetings or better info sharing? Here, the manager is encouraging that employee to think more reflectively and think about what steps that employee can take to make a difference with their suggestion. Additionally, this is a great technique to help develop your people to think more strategically and critically, and as a manager to help delegate responsibilities and decisions down so that you can free up more of your time to focus on your highest impact activities as a manager. Lastly, how do you think about creating and sustaining momentum from this process? This performance development check-in process really should serve as a foundation for a strong 2020 between you and your employees. In order to sustain the momentum from these check-in conversations, what can you do with your employees throughout the year to make sure your people are hitting their performance objectives and their development milestones? What structures, rhythms, meetings, communications need to be set up by you, the manager, in order to create a rhythm and cadence that can drive performance and continue momentum throughout the year? We believe managing performance and developing our people is not a one-time-a-year event, but something that must take place regularly between managers and employees. Best wishes to you and your performance development conversations.